What's up, fuckers? It's tea time. January 22nd. Fabulous day. It's the day that I was born. Write that down. My mother, who had the right to choose, was in a good place in her life. She was financially stable, married, had transportation, housing, and food. Idyllic situation for a mother who's expecting a practically perfect human being. She had the right to choose due to something that also happened on January 22nd in 1973. It's this little thing our governor and his cronies here in Texas seem to have forgotten about. What is it? Roe versus Wade. It's the legalization of abortion within the first 3 months of pregnancy. The decision established a woman's right to choose as a matter of privacy, as it should be. Americans who are pro-choice hold the ruling up as a beacon for women's independence and equality. But those who are pro-forced birth will do anything in their power to overturn it. People like Texas Governor Greg Abbott. And it's frightening. But what's even more frightening is Abbott's brilliant ideas aren't keeping any of us alive. Every day feels like a Friday the 13th movie when you're a Texas progressive. Crack, Ookie spooky. Now I know what you're thinking. He could have said Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I know. But we can all agree that moisture-free Marjorie Taylor Greene is the true Leatherface, right? Good. It's quite peculiar to me that someone who claims to be pro-life has practically become a manifestation of death itself. The Greg Reaper's greed and lust for power continue to make us all suffer here in the Lone Star State. Whether it's freezing to death due to his fanatical support for deregulation, which is actually all about continuing to rake in money from the oil and gas industry, or how about how he stripped us all of our face masks during a global pandemic immediately after he was vaccinated so he could very quickly change the headlines that drew attention to his power grid failure. And he did it all while claiming to be a Jesus junkie. My. The qualifications to be a Christian sure have changed over the years. Was it Jesus that lived by, I got mine, fuck everybody else? Nope. That was God-fearing Greg. Donald Trump grabs women by the pussy, but Greg Abbott grabs them by the uterus. Men love to treat women like their property. A Fetus Factory. I own 51% of this company. No, women own 100% of it. But men have always tried to win control over women in every possible way they can. The heartbeat bill isn't about saving babies. It's about these white men waving their little pink helicopter dicks around like they're in an MC Hammer music video. Can't legislate this. The heartbeat bill bans abortions after a fetal heartbeat has been detected. But since Republicans don't know anything about science, they're banning abortions at 6 weeks when the fetus is actually an embryo. You don't have a fetus until week 11. At 6 weeks, organized electrical activity exists, but the heart as a distinct organ hasn't even developed yet. And most women don't even know they're pregnant at 6 weeks. So, abortion is essentially illegal in the state of Texas now. Similar bills have passed in other states, but this one here in Texas, it has a little twist to it. Instead of having the government enforce the law, the bill turns the reins over to private citizens. Now, radical rural Republicans are newly empowered to sue abortion providers or anyone who helps someone get an abortion after a so-called fetal heartbeat has been detected. The person would not have to be connected to someone who had an abortion or to a provider to sue them. The point of this twist is to create a loophole to get around the legal challenges that have tied up abortion restrictions in the courts in the past. While abortion providers typically sue the state to stop a restrictive abortion law from taking effect, there's no state official enforcing this one, so there's no one to sue. Oh, and the ban includes cases where a woman was impregnated as a result of rape or incest. But that should come as no surprise given what Texas Republicans have said about rape in the past. Clayton Williams, who ran for Texas governor in 1990, said, "Rape is like the weather. If it's inevitable, relax and enjoy it." Can't imagine why you weren't elected. Jody Logenberg, she's a former member of the Texas House of Representatives. She thinks rape is no big deal because she says the ER has rape kits where a woman can just get all cleaned out. Thanks for the tip, Jody. And Big Ted Cruz said anyone who drinks to the point of losing self-control risks being a victim to rape, because he once knew a guy who got roaring drunk and then climbed on top of a train and electrocuted himself, losing 3 of his limbs. Okay, Ted, whatever the fuck that means. But you know this bill is an attack on women when Republicans view abortion more severely than rape. But we already knew this had nothing to do with being pro-life. You can't say you're pro-life when you're pulling children from their parents' arms and locking them in cages, silencing doctors and stripping reproductive health care away from millions of low-income people, denying affordable health care coverage to people with pre-existing conditions, refusing to raise the minimum wage, cutting programs that feed hungry kids, and standing by while maternal mortality rates skyrocket. Oh, wait, that mainly affects black women. Okay, I can see why on that one, that whole racism bit. I guess that's why they're okay with police officers performing late-term abortions on black kids in the streets. Tamir Rice was only 144 months old when the police killed him. That's 12 years for anyone who doesn't speak new mommy lingo. Republicans didn't seem to care for him. But the real reason Republicans call themselves pro-life is something that happened decades ago. We'll have to go back in time. Shouldn't be too hard. The Greg Reaper has done a great job getting us there already by signing this little heartbeat bill. Oh, Greg. In the late 1960s, many Republicans were pro-choice and helping to legalize abortion. It was the Democrats with their large Catholic constituency who were pro-life. In 1967, Ronald Reagan signed the California Therapeutic Abortion Act, one of the most liberal abortion laws in the country, legalizing abortion for women whose health would be impaired by pregnancy or whose pregnancies were the result of rape or incest. But then, Republicans began to care more about power than people. And to stay in power, you need votes. So in 1972, Republican Richard Nixon began staking out anti-abortion positions as part of a strategy to appeal to the large number of Catholic voters and other social conservatives in the Democratic Party. After Nixon won the election with a majority of Catholic votes, Republican strategists began using the same tactics in congressional races. Forging coalitions with evangelical groups around the opposition to abortion. The GOP uses their abortion stance the same way that they benefit from gerrymandering and the Electoral College. It's not about Christianity or babies. It's about power. But the good thing about this bill in Texas is you need a heartbeat to avoid being aborted. And Greg Abbott doesn't have one of those. We can abort his ass in 2022. We'll call it an Abbotttion, if you will. In 2022, you need to vote blue. I want everybody to have a great fucking day, unless you're okay with men making laws about what women can and can't do with their bodies.